guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be walking you guys through some of the do's and don'ts of makeup. I'm probably going to say it quite a few times during my video, but what I say in this video is definitely not gospel. There are no rules to makeup. If you guys use some of these techniques or products on this side and that's the way that you like it, please go ahead and carry on. Makeup is art, and if you guys feel beautiful in the way that you guys apply your makeup, then please continue to do what you're doing. This video is just going to be filled with some of my opinions and the way that I do things and the way that I feel more comfortable in my makeup. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please hit the subscribe button and hit the little bell notification to let you guys know every time I upload a new video. If you have any questions or comments, please put them in the comment section below. But if you guys are interested in learning some tips and tricks to how to look more youthful, happy, healthy and glowing, then please keep on watching. So first off, today we're going to talk about our base. It's really important to have a really good skincare routine in place if you want to have a really flawless foundation. So if you're not exfoliating and you're trying to put your foundation on top of all those dead skin cells that have built up on your face, it's pretty much like putting foundation on top of a layer of sand. So one of the main points that I say to people, if you really want to have a nice foundation and a nice base, is to exfoliate. So everyone needs to exfoliate. You should be exfoliating at least 1 to 2 times a week. My favorite exfoliator that I use, as we all know, I'm into natural things, is Eco by Sonia Driver. This is her Skin Compost. It's her Super Acai exfoliator. So this is all natural ingredients, all organic ingredients, and it's made from acai. It's got coconut in it. And the actual exfoliating part of this is magnesium salt. So it's all natural and great for your skin. Now that one is quite a harsh exfoliator. The magnesium salt flakes are quite large, so they do work very, very well. So if you're looking for one that's more of like a daily exfoliator, I've heard that Dermalogica Daily Microfoliant is a really, really good one as well. I don't personally use that myself. Unfortunately, I find that the fragrances and Dermalogica things seem to break me out quite a bit. So I tend to stay away from those, but I do know a lot of people that use the Dermalogica Daily Microfoliant, and it's definitely one that's gentle enough to use every day. I find that if I try and put my foundation onto my face when I haven't exfoliated sort of 24, 48 hours beforehand, it just seems to go on really patchy and it just doesn't blend as nice as it normally would. So I do recommend that starting with a really good base, make sure you exfoliate. The best way to do it is exfoliate that morning, but if you don't have time to exfoliate that morning, you can always do it either the night before or the morning before you're about to do your application as well. So my main point there is you just want to get rid of all those dead skin cells and not be layering your foundation on top of a layer of basically sand on your skin. So you want a nice smooth base to work with. So my next point today for more youthful looking skin is sunscreen, sunscreen, sunscreen. So this is one of my major points that I'm constantly telling people. You need to be wearing sunscreen every day. Now I wear sunscreen every day on my skin, whether I'm inside or outside. You can still get UV rays coming through your doors or your windows or anything like that. Even the rays that come through your computer of your blue lights is actually not good for your skin either. So if you're sitting and staring at a computer all day, it's a really good idea to be wearing a sunscreen inside as well. So hopefully everyone knows by now that UV rays are so damaging for our skin, and they just make your skin age so much faster if you're exposed to the sun. Now I know a lot of people look at sunscreen under makeup and go, it just doesn't work. I can't do it. It's too greasy. It just makes my makeup slide. And unfortunately, a lot of them are like that because they're made to be worn in water. So they're the ones that you're wearing in the summertime when you're going down to the beach, you're having a play, your kids are having a play. It's fine to put those sunscreens on when you're not putting makeup over the top. But there are particular sunscreens that are made to go underneath makeup. Now me with my natural, I really love this one here. This is 100% pure. This is their green tea and it's an SPF 30. Now I don't suggest that you go anything lighter than an SPF 30. I mean, wearing any sunscreen is going to be better than wearing none at all, but SPF is obviously the highest gradient that you can get, and it's definitely the highest protection that you need. So the 100% pure one is definitely one that I have found is not as greasy. Now, a lot of the natural ones, because they are made from natural products, they do have a lot of natural oils and things like that in them, so they do end up being quite greasy. But I've definitely find with this one from 100% pure that it's not greasy. So it feels a little bit greasy when it's on your hands, but as soon as you put it onto your face, it just sinks really nicely into the skin and creates a really good base for your foundation. I do actually tend to use this one as a primer as well. And also the great thing about the 100% pure green tea one is it's all natural and vegan as well. Now, again, if you're looking for something you don't mind if it's not natural, I do hear that Dermalogica has a really nice one. I think it's their Solar Defense Drops, I think it's called. And a lot of people tend to either mix those into their moisturizer or they mix those into their foundation. I'll pop the link to the Dermalogica one down below, so you can always try that one as well. So those are my 2 recommendations for your base before we even start any of the makeup. So I've already applied my sunscreen. I exfoliated this morning when I woke up. Now we're going to go in and we're going to do foundation do's and don'ts. So this one's quite an easy one to mess up, I think. A lot of people do get this wrong, and the main reason that people get it wrong is they just choose the wrong color for their skin tone. My biggest recommendation for people is when you're matching color of your foundation, match it to your chest. So your chest is your natural color of all the rest of your body. Your face is not necessarily the same color as the rest of your body. So if you've matched your foundation, say, to your face, and your face is a lot more pale than your chest, you're gonna pretty much look like a headless ghost, really, or a floating head. So you're gonna have this super pale face because that's what your face is naturally, but the rest of your body is gonna be quite tanned. So that's not a good look. It's not what we want, definitely not natural. So that's definitely something what we want to avoid. So today I'm going to do half my face with a foundation that is way too dark for me, and we're not going to blend it either. So we won't be taking it down our neck or anything like that. Another very common mistake that people make. And then on the other side, I'm going to be using the foundation that matches my chest and matches the rest of my skin tone of my body. So first, I'm going to go in with my Juice Beauty. This is my Phyto Pigments Flawless Serum Foundation. This is the one I use in pretty much all my videos. I know that it matches my skin tone. It's a fantastic foundation and I absolutely love it. So when you're applying foundation as well, you want to have control over that foundation. So I've seen a lot of people out there just go straight in with their foundation and they do a few dots or a few splashes all over their face, and then they start to rub it in from there. You're going to have so much product caked up on your face. The good thing about makeup to remember is that less is always more. You can never take away makeup properly. You can always add to it. So start off small. Only put a small amount of the product onto your skin, and then if you feel like you need to add some more later, then go ahead and do so. So instead of going straight in with my foundation onto my face, I'm going to take a few pumps on the back of my hand. Pump your sponge into that foundation. And on this side, we're going to go in and we're just going to pounce that all over our skin. So as I said before, I'm only going to do half my face today so that you guys can see the difference in the do's and don'ts. So we're going to go all over that eye today as well, all underneath that eye, and up the top onto our forehead as well. So I always suggest with foundation that you blend it into your hairline slightly as well so that you don't have any harsh lines showing through. It just means that it comes out a lot more natural and you can't see any sort of orange lines or white lines or anything like that. I always like to blend it into my ear as well, otherwise you're going to have ears that stick out either red or white. So my suggestion as well is to blend that back up into your ear as well, and also back up behind your ear and also down your neck. So that's a really big common mistake that people make with foundation as well, is they don't blend it down their neck. Now, as I mentioned before, anything to do with makeup, less is more. So when you're putting on your foundation, rather than putting multiple layers of foundation over your face to try and cover up blemishes and things like that, you want to go back in with concealer to do that. So all you need is one layer of foundation on your skin. You'll still have blemishes, maybe freckles, things like that showing through, but that's good. You want that because foundation's job is not to completely block everything out. It's really to even out the tone of your skin, and then you use your concealer to go back in and fix any blemishes or freckles or anything like that you don't want seen. And on the don't side of my face, I'm going to go in with this one. This is the Chanel Vita Lumiere. This is a beautiful foundation. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with this foundation, but the color of this foundation is very, very dark on me, and it's definitely not matched to my skin tone. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to do the same thing that a lot of people do, and we'll just drip that straight onto the face, a couple of dots all over. And I am simply going to go in and use my fingers, and we're just going to blend this foundation into my skin. So you can already see there that it's very, very orange on my skin. I find that a lot of people wake up one day and they're kind of like, wow, I'm looking really, really pale. So they go and they find the most bronzy, dark kind of foundation that they can possibly find and put that onto your face. And it just doesn't work like that. Your foundation needs to match your skin tone. If you're feeling really, really pale and things like that, then you can go back in with bronzer and a bit more blush, a bit more highlight, things like that to make you look more awake and more happy and healthy. But don't do it with your foundation. You need to match your foundation to your skin tone. It's very, very important. So I am not using a sponge for this one. I'm not blending it in. I'm just going in with my fingers. I'm also not going to take it down my neck. So you can see there that I have a pretty harsh line. And a lot of people do this, unfortunately. So let's take my hair back. And I'm going to take that all over my forehead as well. Just using our fingers, not going to blend it up into the hairline. Just take a little bit over my eye as well. So we're doing the exact same process as we did with the other foundation, taking it all over our eye and all over the side of our face. But I'm not blending it into the hairline or down the neck so that you guys can see the difference that this is going to make. Right, so as you can see, there's me for the day. I've woken up feeling very, very pale and very, very sick and unhealthy. So I've decided to go for a very bronze, very orange foundation, and this is the result of my choices. Next, we're going to go in with concealer. Now, a really big mistake that people make with concealer is they use a concealer that's way, way too light for their skin tone. The rule of thumb that you need to remember with foundation and concealer: foundation needs to match your skin tone. Concealer needs to be one shade lighter, possibly, if not matched correctly to your skin tone. You don't want to make your concealer 5, 10 shades lighter than your skin, because what it's going to do is it's going to highlight any blemishes or anything that you're actually trying to hide. You don't want it to be too dark either, otherwise you're also going to draw attention to those problem areas as well. So I've got two concealers here, both from Makeup Revolution. This one here is their Conceal and Hydrate Concealer. This one here is actually my perfect shade that I use every day, so I'm going to use that on my good side. This one here is their Conceal and Define Concealer, and I hope that you guys can see this is super, super light. So this is even way too light for my skin tone, and I am very, very pale, like ghostly pale. This one's almost a white concealer. So I'm going to go on the bad side with this concealer and just show you guys the difference that it makes when you're concealing under your eyes and also blemish concealing. So on the bad side, we're going to start off with the concealing. We're going to take this really light one, and I'm going to take this way under my eye, just like this. This is a very bad mistake that a lot of people make. It's that, you know, the triangle shape that a lot of people make under their eyes. Please don't follow that. You don't need concealer right under your eye like that. I'll show you on the other side how you should be concealing under your eye, but definitely not this load of product all under your eye in a triangle shape. It's just not going to work. So normally with my concealer, I'd be going in with a blending brush, but today we're just going to go in with our fingers and try and blend that out as best we can. I have so much product on there. I'm not sure, it's probably going to take me 5 hours to blend this out, but we'll see how we go. All right, so I've pretty much blended most of that out, I think. That was a lot of product. And as I said before, please remember that less is more. The more product that you put on your face, the more that the product's going to cake and crease and just make us age 10 years than we need to. So you probably won't be able to see it on camera, but because I've put so much product on that eye, it looks really cakey and it looks dry. That's definitely not what we want when we want to go for a really nice natural foundation look. So once again, I'm going to take this light concealer and I'm going to go in and I'm going to cover my blemishes. So this is generally the area around my chin that I get most of my blemishes, that I need most of the coverage, and the edge of my nose. Again, taking our finger, and we're just going to blend those areas in. Now I'm hoping that you guys can see that pretty well on camera. Hopefully you can see that I've actually highlighted those areas that I've had my blemishes in, which is the complete opposite to what I'm wanting to do. So it doesn't really conceal them very well at all, because it's actually making them stand out like a flashlight. Now that's our don't side, all nice and supposedly concealed, but I feel like it's all lovely and highlighted now. It's just showing off every blemish that I don't want it to show. So now we're going to go in and we're going to do the good side using the concealer that is the good match to my skin tone. Now for my under eyes, I like to conceal in particular areas. So I'm only going to take the product where I find I have the darkest discoloration, which is right here, just underneath my eye here on the left. And sometimes just here I find I get a little bit of discoloration there as well. So I'm going to pop a little bit there. We're going to take our beauty blender, our sponge, our whatever it is that you're using, even your finger if you want to, and I'm just going to blend that in really nice and smoothly. You can see I'm not taking it all the way under my eyes. I don't want it to be emphasizing any creases that I might have under my eyes here, which is where a lot of us have creases in our eyes anyway. It's just something that happens with age. So I want to keep that color really tight in that inner corner there. Then I'm going to go to this on the outer corner and just slightly blend that out there. So we want to keep most of the color on that discoloration part, but you also want to blend out the edges. Now for me, I know that I get a lot of redness, as I said before, on my chin and my nose. So I'm just going to go in with a little bit of concealer here, and then I'll go back and do my spot concealing. Again, a little bit down the nose. Not too much product. I'm putting a lot less product on than I did on the other side. And just really nicely blending that out. Now I do still have a few blemishes showing through on this side, so now I'm going to go back and spot conceal. So I have told you about this before in previous videos, but I always like to use a lip brush. I find that it's really small and it just goes in and does that one area of blemish rather than doing a huge area like I've done on this side. So hopefully you can see in the camera here, I have tried to conceal this blemish here, and I literally just took the concealer on my finger or dotted it onto the blemish itself, and I've just gone in with my finger and tried to kind of blend it in and pat it in. but it's actually created a huge area here where you can see that it's a completely different color to my foundation. So my suggestion with concealer is to get a little bit on the back of your hand, just a tiny bit. You don't want to waste too much of the product. Grab your lip pencil, very lightly dab that into your concealer. You only want to have a teeny tiny little bit on the end of your brush, and you just want to go in and conceal one tiny little blemish at a time. So hopefully you can see there in the camera that I've really hidden all those blemishes. They're not standing out like a sore thumb like this side over here where I've highlighted them, but it still all looks really natural. Now I always like to powder under my eyes. I do usually use the Nakia Joy Cosmetics Velvet Finishing Powder for under my eyes because it's a very, very finely milled powder and I find that it doesn't settle into any creases. But just for the purpose of today, I am going to show you how I would normally do under my eyes with a powder that's specifically made for under your eyes. So I don't suggest that you go in with foundation powder, and I definitely don't suggest that you go in with a very harsh setting powder that's very largely milled, because it's just not going to work for under your eyes. It's going to show up all those creases and all those crinkles, and that's not what we want. So for today's video, I am going to actually go in with the Laura Mercier. This is their Secret Brightening Powder. This one is specifically made for under the eyes, and it's very, very finely milled, and it has sort of a shimmer through it, I guess you could say. So it actually reflects the light off your eye. Now, before I go in and powder under those eyes, I need to make sure that I get any of those creases out of my concealer. If you go in and conceal over the top of your creases, you're literally pretty much going to be cementing those creases into your eye for the whole day. So we've gotten rid of those creases. Now we're just going to go in with that powder and set that skin underneath the eye. Now this eye on this side has already started creasing. I'm not going to take those creases out of my foundation. I'm going to leave them, and we're going to go in and we're just going to set under our eye with just a regular face powder. This is the Maybelline Master Fix. This is their Setting and Perfecting Loose Powder. Again, this one's not specifically made for under your eyes. It's a setting powder for your face, but this is a common mistake that a lot of people make. So we're just going to go straight in, and I'm going to use a brush this time. So I'm just using a nice big fluffy brush like this one here. I'm going to go into my powder and get quite a bit of product on the end of my brush, and we're just going to go straight in and powder under that eye without getting rid of any of those creases. There we go, already starting to look like a 90-year-old woman. Fantastic. So that's all nice and powdered under there now. Now, it's not an awful job. It doesn't look completely disgusting at all. And if any of you guys do these techniques and you're happy with the way that your makeup comes out, that's perfectly fine. All of these are my opinions. They're the way that I do my makeup, and they're not necessarily right. So there's no rule book in makeup that this is exactly how you're supposed to do things. If you feel that you put your makeup on and you use some of these don't techniques that I'm saying here today, and you feel good within yourself, then that's all that matters. That's makeup doing its job. Makeup is supposed to make you feel special. It's supposed to make you feel beautiful. And no matter how you do your makeup, if you've had fun doing that makeup and you feel beautiful, then it's done its job. So please don't take this as gospel, everything that I'm doing here. You can change things that I'm saying here, tweak things a little bit to make them suit you better. And even some of these products, you need to find products that are going to suit your skin and your skin tone and texture. So the products that I'm using here today that I find don't necessarily work for my skin, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're bad products or that you guys shouldn't go out and buy them. I just find they don't work for my skin as well as I would like them to. Now, in terms of the powder, if you wanted to go in and powder your entire face, please go ahead and do so. I do like to powder my whole face, so I am going to do that today. If you find that your skin is only oily in the T-zone, then go ahead and only powder in that T-zone. So for today's look, I'm going to go in with my Nakia Joy Cosmetics Velvet Finishing Powder. I'm just going to get a little bit on my sponge, and I'm just going to go in on the good side and pounce that all over my skin. So I'm not using too much of the product. I don't want it to be caked on and looking awful. I'm just using a very small amount and blending it over the entire face with my sponge. Also, take your powder down your neck as well, particularly if you're using a foundation powder which has got color to it. You definitely need to take that down your neck and onto your chest as well. Now, for the purpose of this video, I am also going to use my Nakia Joy Cosmetics Velvet Finishing Powder on the bad side. As I said before, not saying that this is a bad product, because everyone knows that I'm absolutely in love with this product, but it's actually the technique is where you can go wrong with powder. With this one here, I'm going to take quite a lot of powder onto my brush, and you'll just see it fluff off everywhere. It's all going to go up my nose and everything, but we're going to take quite a lot on our brush and go straight in and put that all over our face. So we're going to be super duper powdered today. We're also not going to take it down our neck either, because we haven't blended our foundation down our neck either. Now already I can feel the difference on my face. So this feels like I've pretty much got nothing on my skin, whereas this one's very tight now, and it's starting to actually feel like I do have a layer of foundation and powder on my face. So you guys may not be able to see the difference very well in the camera, but what I can see here is this side is extremely cakey now. So it's got a lot of product on there. I've got a lot of foundation, very heavy foundation, and I've got a lot of powder over the top of that. And it's just really looking cakey, and it's starting to show off all my creases. It's already moving, and it's just not a look that I like at all. As I said before, if you like that look where you've got lots of foundation and you've got lots of powder, whatever works for you, that's the great thing about makeup, is you can work it how you want to work it. But for all intents and purposes today, this is my good side and this is my bad side. This one is just very caked on with powder. So when it comes to contouring, I know it can scare a lot of people. I did not start contouring probably until maybe 3 years ago. I just thought that I was so super pale that any kind of product that I use or any color that I use would just not match my skin. It would just look like I've got a large clump of color on my skin. But it's all about finding the right tone for your skin. So even though you're a warm color, majority of the time, cool toned colors work really well when you're doing contouring. So sometimes when you've got really warm colors and you're trying to use those for contouring, it can come out really, really muddy on your face. So a common mistake that a lot of people make is that they actually use their bronzing color to do their contouring. So I'm going to go in today and use this one here. This is from Maybelline. This is their City Bronzer. This one's, it's supposed to be light cool, but it is still quite warm toned, especially for me. I am a very cool toned skin, and this one I find is sort of cool toned, but not as cool toned as I would like it to be. So I am going to go in with this, and I'm going to show you guys how a bronzer used as a contour shows up. So I'm going to go in with my product. I'm really going to get that in there and get a lot of product on my brush. So we're definitely not going for the less is more today. And I'm going to start on the inner of my cheek, and I'm going to blend it backwards. So this is what a lot of people do with their contouring, is use a really warm product and they just put heaps and heaps of color onto their cheeks. So there is our contouring on that side with a very kind of orangey muddy color. Then I'm going to go in and use my normal color that I would use for contouring, which is the MAC Pro blush color in taupe. This one's very, very cool tone and really suits my skin tone. And if you're very, very pale, it will definitely suit yours as well. So again, I'm going to go in, I'm going to take a little bit of product on my brush, not too much, nowhere near what I used on the other side. I'm going to start on the outer corner of my cheekbone and blend it inwards. So wherever you put your brush to start with is where the most amount of color is going to be deposited. So do be careful where you start and where your color is going to be placed. So for a contour, you don't want the most amount of color placed right here in the middle of your cheekbone. It's just going to drag the face down and make everything look awful. So you want the most amount of color to be right here on the middle of your ear and blend it in towards the face. So I am not much of a contour girl. I don't like to use a lot of contour, but I do like that slight little chiseled cheekbone. Whenever I'm using any kind of contour, I do like to make sure that it's very, very heavily blended so there's no harsh lines, and just add that little bit more definition to my face. So hopefully you guys can see there the difference between this cool toned color, the taupe one, and this is the bronzer that I used as contour. Next, I'm going to show you the difference with bronzer and the placement of bronzer as well, and how much product you're actually adding to your face. I'm going to go on with my favorite product here. This is the Butter Bronzer by Physicians Formula, and this is the color Bronzer. Again, it's quite cool toned, very good for my skin tone and anybody who's pale. So on the good side, I'm going to dip my brush in like that, and I'm going to actually pat it on the back of my hand first before I go in and use it on my face. Now the reason I do that is because then most of the color is deposited on my hand rather than being splodged onto my face. So again, a bit of product on that brush, on the back of my hand, and then we're just going to sweep it very, very lightly back and forth all over our cheek. And we just want to do that the number 3 on our face. So jawbone, middle of our cheek, and up into our hairline. So it's just a really nice, subtle bronzer. This one is a satin bronzer as well, so it does give a little bit of a sheen to the face, not too much, but it just gives us that really nice sun-kissed glow. Now, a big common mistake for bronzer is that a lot of people believe that bronzer has to be super shimmery and super wet looking and, you know, luxurious beach babe kind of thing, and it's just not the case. But for today's purpose, I am going to go in with this one here. This is my little makeshift palette that I've got here, but this one here is from Australis. This is their bronzer in the tone Cleopatra, and this one is super, super shimmery. So I'm going to go in here. I'm not going to be afraid of using the product on my brush. I'm really going to go in there and dip my brush in there all over like this. Get a lot of product on my brush. So hopefully you can see there's quite a lot in my brush, and we're just going to go right in and just punch that all over the cheek just like this. So not really any blending, but we're just going to punch it all over, everywhere, all over our cheek. So hopefully you guys can see that that is quite shimmery, that one. Now I do like to use this bronzer, but again, I follow the rule that less is more. So I put a tiny little bit on my brush, and then I go back and hit it on my hand, so my hand gets majority of the product. Then I go in and take it over my cheek. So we're just going to pile on all that bronzer, give us the super, 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 super sun-kissed look. And I'm not going to blend that down my neck either. So it's just going to make that harsh line even harsher. And there we have our bronze. Now I'm going to go in and show you a very common mistake for blush. So the old school way of putting blush on that everybody seems to kind of still like is that blush goes on the apples of your cheeks. And that is correct. But this time it's all about blending. I'm going to show you here on this one. This is my Maybelline Master Blush palette here. So this has got some beautiful colors in it as well. But this one, obviously, clearly this dark purple here is not really my kind of color. So I do use this color and I do think it's beautiful, but again, I only use a small amount, and I pat it on the back of my hand first before going in on my face. This time we're not even going to worry about that. We're going to go straight in and do a whole heap of blush. So you don't want to use colors that are too dark for you. It's just going to make you age. It's just going to make you look so much older, and you're not going to have that youthful, radiant look that everyone's trying to chase. So let's go in and get quite a lot of blush on our brush. And we're literally just going to go in and we're just going to put it on the apples of our cheeks right here. It doesn't look too bad. It doesn't look, you know, disgusting, like I'm going to run away screaming or anything like that. But it doesn't look nice and blended and natural. And it's just that color for me is just way too harsh. So it's clearly not a natural color for me, and it's not giving me that natural flush. So I'm going to go back into this palette, and I'm actually going to go into this peachy kind of color here. And I'm going to use that as my blush, but I've got to show you how to apply it. So you only want to get a small amount of blush onto your brush, tap it on your hand again, get most of the excess product on your hand, and really slightly start on the apples of your cheeks and start blending it outwards towards your hairline. So makeup these days is all about the blend. We don't want any harsh lines. It's always got to be blended. So I like to just have a really nice flushed look with my blush. And to me, the more natural, the better. Now you also don't want to take your blush too far down towards your mouth. So I'll show you on the bad side as well. If I took that too far down to my mouth, so I started right here instead of starting on the apples of my cheeks, it just looks like an absolute hot mess. So don't take it too close to your mouth and nose. You literally want to start right here on your cheekbone, right where those apples of your cheeks are, and blend it out towards your temple. Now we're going to talk about the placement of highlighter. So everyone knows that's watched my videos before. I am literally obsessed with highlighter. I love it. The more highlighter, the better. But the placement and the technique that you use for highlighter does make a massive difference in how it looks for your skin. So it's either going to age you if you do it the wrong way, and it's going to make you more youthful, more healthy and happy, and more wide awake looking if you do it the correct way. So first I'm going to start off with a highlighter on my bad side that's really a bad color for anybody. And that is a very icy white highlighter. So this one here is from Makeup Revolution. This is their baked highlighter. I'm not sure what the color of this one is. It doesn't actually say on the back of it, but it's pretty much just a pure white highlighter. The purpose of a highlighter is to make your face look like you're catching the natural light. So you don't want to make your face look like you've got glitter all over it. So I'm going to go in and take this highlighter. I'm going to get heaps of it on my brush because less is more when it comes to makeup, but we're not doing that on this side. So too much highlighter is an absolute no-no. And we're just going to go in and do our tops of our cheekbones here, right? I'm going to take it all the way up to my forehead and right the way down almost to my nose. Right, so you can see there straight away that's completely not natural. The white color in itself does the absolute opposite to what we're actually wanting it to do. So it actually ages us and makes us look much more tired, and that we are using makeup to try and make ourselves look more awake. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. But you're wanting something that's a lot more subtle. You can have a lot of it on, but it needs to still be subtle with the placement and the color. So I'll go in and I'll show you. This is another one here for Makeup Revolution. This is their highlighter reloaded. This one's called Dare to Divulge. And you can kind of see there, this one's more of like a peachy skin toned kind of highlighter. So it's not going to stand out like an absolute sore thumb on my skin. Take a little bit of product on my brush. Even though I do like a lot of highlight, I like to start off with only a little bit and then build it up to where I want it. So I start with just a little bit. Again, you can tap your brush on the end of your product as well if that helps to get off that excess. And we literally want to place that highlight just on the top of your cheekbone right here. So I'm not taking it too far down towards my nose. I'm not taking it too far up towards my forehead. You can take it right over to sort of where your eyebrow ends, but you don't want to take it up any further than that. So you can see there that that one's giving me a really nice, subtle but natural highlight. It's not standing out too much. It's not too in your face and full on. It's just a really lovely highlighter. Again, we're going to do the same for our brow bone. So we'll go in with the white powder again, and I'll show you the difference that it makes for our brow bone. So we're going to get quite a lot of that on our brush, and we're going to put that right under our brow bone, but we're going to put it all the way under our brow bone like that. So as I said before, when you highlight areas too much, it has the opposite effect of what you're wanting it to do. So this is just going to make me look older. It's going to make me look more aged. It's probably going to settle into a lot of creases and fine lines in my skin. Hopefully on this one here, you can also see that it also shows up a lot of my pores on my skin. So any kind of highlighting product is really going to show up any texture that you've got on your skin. So if you're putting that highlight right over your entire basically cheek, it is really going to show up those pores, any fine lines. And the closer that you take it to your eye, the more it's also going to settle into those fine creases around your eye as well. Then we're going to go back in with this more subtle highlighter, which is more of a skin tone color, get a little bit of product on our brush, and we're just going to take it really lightly right in the middle of the arch of your eyebrow. So the highest point of your eyebrow is where you really want that highlighter to be. Make sure it's all nice and blended out, whether you just want to get your finger to blend those lines out, but make sure there's no harsh lines. It's not too subtle that you can't see it. As I said, I do like my highlights, so I do like to be able to see it. But it's not like this side where it's very in your face. It's pretty much over my entire brow bone rather than just the highest point of my brow bone. Now, I'm not going to do the do's and don'ts too much today of eyeshadows. I can do that in another video. So if you guys are interested in seeing that, please comment below and let me know. But I am going to show you just some subtle techniques that work with making you look more awake and more healthy and youthful. So one thing for your eyes that can make your eyes look much more awake is to actually curl your lashes. I know that scares a lot of people because I know this contraption can look quite scary sometimes, but it really does help your eyes to open up. So on the bad side, I'm not going to curl my eyelashes. We're just going to go straight in with my mascara. On this side, I'm going to curl my lashes and also show you a technique that's going to help define those eyes as well. So we're going to go in and we're going to curl those lashes. A lot of people just think that you just put the eyelash curler on and let it go, but I actually like to pump the eyelash curler. So just let it go, release it, and then push it back maybe 10 times or so. I just find that it curls the eyelashes a lot better. So hopefully you guys can see that. I might come a bit closer, hopefully. So with the lashes that I've just curled, the technique that I was just talking about before that I'm going to show you now is to take a liner, whether it be a liquid liner, a pencil, or even one of these gel liners that I'm using today from e.l.f. I'm going to get a little bit of that on my brush and just put that on the back of my hand. Now using an angled brush, I'm going to grab some of that product and just wiggle that in between my eyelashes. So I'm not actually placing any eyeliner on my waterline. I'm just wiggling that product in between my lashes to just give my eye that little bit more definition and a little bit of a pop. And then on the bottom lash line waterline, I'm just going to go in with a concealer colored eyeliner. This one's from NYX. This is their Wonder Pencil. And I'm just going to very, very gently pull my eye down and just take that in the waterline there. Now, a lot of people like to use a white eyeliner for their waterline. I find that it's just way too stark. It just doesn't look natural at all. If that's the look that you're going for, then go ahead and use the white liner. If you love the white liner, then please go ahead and use it. I just find that it doesn't look as natural as if you're using a nude one. Right, so on the don't side, I'm going to go right in with a black eyeliner. A lot of people seem to have a bit of a security blanket around a black eyeliner, and they seem to just think, I'll just slap on a little bit of black eyeliner or brown eyeliner and off I go. But unfortunately, when you use dark colors on your waterline, it actually does the opposite effect of what you're wanting it to do. So it actually closes your eyes and makes them look smaller. It can also make you look more tired, and sometimes that you've aged 50 years when you don't really need to. So I'm going to take this black eyeliner in my waterline and I'll show you guys the difference in the two eyes. So again, very gently pull it down and just take this black liner all the way over our waterline. Now, if you really like the clumped mascara look, then fine, go ahead and use it. I like to have my lashes a lot more natural than that. I'm going to go ahead and show you a technique that you can use to get the best out of your mascara. So on the don't side, I'm actually going to use a mascara that I don't find works for me, unfortunately. A lot of people have raved about this, and a lot of makeup artists that I watch on YouTube myself rave about this mascara, but I just can't seem to get it to work for me. I just find that it's super, super clumpy on my eyelashes, and I really don't like that look. So I'm going to use today, this is the Essence Lash Princess. This is their False Lash Effect Mascara. This is their green one. So as I said before, I just find this one really super clumpy and it just doesn't seem to work for my lashes. So what we're going to do with this one is we're going to open it up. I'm not going to get rid of any of the excess product or anything like that. And we're just going to go straight in with our lashes like this and coat them all over. Now I'm going to go in with the Maybelline Colossal Big Shot Mascara. This is my favorite of all time. And I'm going to go in and show you guys a really good technique. So instead of actually just going in and looking straight ahead in the mirror and doing your mascara this way, you need to grab yourself a mirror and look downwards as though you were applying lashes. So grab yourself a mirror, look downwards, and you want to actually start at the root base of the eyelash and kind of blink into the mascara. And kind of try and turn your brush at the same time. It really helps to separate those eyelashes and really combs the comb through your lashes. And make sure you take it right out to those corner lashes as well. Don't leave those little guys out. And all the way along, blink your eyelashes into the mascara. So hoping that you guys can see a difference in that mascara. This one on this side I find is super, super clumpy and doesn't separate at all on my lashes, and I've just got way too much on. Whereas this one separates all my lashes, and the technique that I've used just makes it look a lot more natural and also takes it right down to the root of the eyelash as well. So again, with the bottom ones, look down into your mirror and you just want to wiggle them in between your lashes. So don't just go in like this and coat them from top to bottom. Go in and actually wiggle them between those lashes so you get every single one. So hopefully you guys can see the massive difference between those two mascaras on camera. I can see a massive difference in person, but I'm just hoping that it shows through to you guys. But there's definitely a difference when you apply too much mascara as opposed to not applying too much. Less is more. I've said it about 5,000 times. As I mentioned before previously in the video, if you like that look with a lot of mascara and the clumpy lashes, and that's the kind of look that you go for and you love, then go ahead and do it. The things that I'm saying here today are not things that you have to follow. It's not the rules of makeup, and it's not how everyone does things. This is just simple techniques that you guys can use if you want to help you get a better makeup and to help you get a better makeup that's going to last all day as well. So the last technique that I'm going to show you guys today, which isn't so common these days, but back in the 90s was very common. I'm glad it's not so common these days, but unfortunately there are still a few people around that do it, and that's putting on a much darker lip liner than your actual lipstick or lip gloss that you're applying. So I don't actually tend to have any really dark lip liners, so I'm just going to go in with this one from Makeup Revolution. This is just their normal basic eyeliner. This is in brown. I'm going to go in and show you the technique on one side of what not to do with this color, and then this one here is more of like a nude kind of neutral color. I'm going to go in and show you what you should be doing on the good side. So with the dark lip liner, a lot of people seem to use this technique because they think that it's actually making their lips look bigger, but it's actually having the opposite effect of that. So it's actually closing your lips in and making them look much more smaller. And also the darker the color is that you use on your lip line, the more it's probably going to bleed into those fine line and crevices and just age your skin so much more than it has to. So we're going to take this dark liner and we're going to outline our lips all the way around, just like this. So as you can see, it just kind of looks super in your face and very, very 90s. So if you outline just the outer of your lip, it really is going to stand out like that. Sometimes even if you've got a lip liner that's quite close to the actual lipstick that you're putting over the top, my suggestion when using a lip liner is to outline all of your lips, but then also fill your lips in slightly as well. It's not only going to help your lipstick last a lot longer having that liner underneath, but it's also going to make it that there's not that much of a stark contrast between the lip liner that you've used and the lip balm, lip gloss, or lipstick that you're using over the top. So we're going to go in and use this much lighter lip liner and line the other side of my lips. Just like this. Then once we've actually finished with the outline, I'm going to take the lip liner and just colour in my lips ever so slightly. Just so it blends that lip liner into our entire lip. A lot of people make a mistake of going directly straight onto their lip with the lipstick, so you just don't get that control that you need when you do that. See, I've slightly gone over the line there, and it's just because I just don't have any control over where the lipstick's going. It's too large, and it just goes everywhere. So a great idea when you're applying lipstick is to actually apply it to the back of your hand first. So put some of that product on your hand there, and then get yourself a nice lip brush, grab some of that product. You can even go straight from the product onto the brush if you wanted to, and just use that on your lip. It gives you so much more control of where the product is going to end up. So there you can see the difference between the two lips. When you're using a very, very dark lip liner, it just closes in that lips, doesn't make it look natural at all. And then on the other side, you can see that this one's nice and open and it looks really, really super natural. And the last thing I'm going to show you really, really quickly is how to fill in your brow. So I'm going to actually use this one here. This is the Maybelline Tattoo Brow. This one's in dark brown. So I'll show you the color there. So depending on the amount of product that you use, this one can either be super light or it can be super dark. So for my not good side, I'm going to go in and just completely coat my brush all over and really go hard on those brows. So I'm just going to completely block color them in. Now again, as I said previously, if that's the way that you like your eyebrows, you like them super dark and you like them super blocky, then go ahead and do it if that's what makes you feel good. But this technique that I'm going to show you now just creates more of a natural brow. So I've dipped my brush into the brow product, not too heavy-handed, just a little bit on the tip. And I'm going to go in and create feather-like strokes all over my brow. So I do still like to have my brows quite dark and defined, but it does make a huge difference when you're doing those brush strokes rather than doing a full block color. Now I do have tattooed on eyebrows. I don't have natural eyebrows. I have shaved them off. So I don't have natural hairs growing through. So I do like to create my own using this technique. So I'm just going to go kind of smudge those out a little bit so they're not so harsh. And then go down to the bottom and just straighten out that bottom. So you can see the difference between the two brows here. This one's a lot more natural and kind of feather-like. This one's quite harsh, quite bold. It still doesn't look terrible. I mean, I wouldn't look at someone who's got this on and go, oh my God, it's just awful. But for me and for the way that I like to do my makeup, it's just not quite natural enough. So I do much like the feathering side and the more natural looking brow. So that's pretty much it for my video today. I really hope that you guys enjoyed watching. I hope that you guys have picked up some really good tips and tricks. As I said before, disclaimer, I do need to say this again, that if you guys do follow any of the subtle don't techniques, please don't take offense to them. It's just the way that I like to do my makeup and the way that I don't like to do my makeup. If you guys enjoy doing that and you love the way it turns out, do whatever makes you guys feel good. Do whatever works for you guys. As I said before, the way that I do things and the different techniques that I use is not gospel. It's not the makeup Bible. There are no set rules in makeup. Makeup is art. You do your makeup the way that you want to make yourself feel beautiful. That being said, I really hope that you guys take some of these tips and tricks and use them on yourself or others. As mentioned before, if you guys do want to see a do's and don'ts with eyeshadow, please put that in the comments below and I'll definitely get onto that video as well. I really hope you guys enjoyed watching and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!